Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, Mick Taylor. Welcome to our new studio.
The thing that's impressed me most, hello by the way.
The thing that's impressed you most
impressed me most is Taylor's got a slider.
He's got a slider!
Watch this. I'm going to demonstrate how the slider works.
And
action. All right. Come on, man, you're under pressure.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's like Scorsese without any of the budget or talent.
All
Taylor,
the actors.
Not about you, mate. It was the direction that I was talking about.
Anyway, welcome to Guitar Paradiso here on Andertons TV. I'm Pete.
I'm Mick.
If you don't know that already, then welcome to the show. And today we're looking at some new Digitech pedals. We got two. We got one to start with.
Yep.
And how do we pronounce this? Is it like a cab driver or is it a CabDryVR? Play on words?
So when Elliot delivered us the pedals this morning, I said, is it CabDryVR? Is that how it works?
It's made in Somerset.
Of course it's not, you idiot. It's CabDriver.
It's tractor driver.
Yeah, it's kind of a clever play on words. Cab, cabinet, dry, as in no amp required.
Yeah.
And VR, I don't know, virtual reality.
Virtual...
Vimpulse response.
Virtual... I don't know.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting, and it's a growing trend in pedals and what sits between pedals and amps, because as many of you will be aware, recording amps is a bit of a pain in the butthole.
Butthole
if you can't turn them up very loud. So of course, in recent years, there's been digital modeling, there's been all that kind of stuff, and that whole trend and that whole development of technology is splintered into various areas. It used to be that you get your kidney bean shaped machine, which did
the pod,
preamp, power amps, amp modeling, speaker modeling, everything all in one box.
Yeah.
And I think it's diversified, hasn't it?
I think it went to kind of more updated version of all of this stuff, all the pods and all that stuff, and it's all. I see a tendency now, like Kemper and Helix and all that stuff. Now I'm seeing a tendency more for people to use their amplifiers, their small heads, and then using a cab simulator impulse response thingy of some sort.
Yeah.
But also that goes directly to the front of house guy, but they still have the cab on the stage to monitor their own sound. That's what I'm kind of seeing.
Absolutely.
And this, it's, I don't want to say the what it started with, but that's why we're here. That's why I'm here anyway. There's the special little thing called a cab clone.
Oh yeah.
That whole debate. But so they are great things, but you have to know how to use them.
Yes, you
know
do.
what I mean? This is cool because this can go on your pedal board.
That's the point, isn't it?
And that's the point of this one, and that's why I think it's a cool thing. Because there's different ways of running it, like we are now, straight into the DI. That was what you heard in the beginning. You can run it into in your effects loop as well. There's lots of different ways of doing this. You can use it with a bass. But let's see if we get to that.
So for anyone who is not aware at this point, it is a guitar speaker cabinet simulator.
Yes.
No amps, nothing like that no distortion, nothing. All it's doing is simulating guitar speaker cabs. 2 different guitar speaker cabs, as you can see by the 2 inputs, which you have independent control over. True stereo in, true stereo out. If you plug into this input, it sums
input A,
so you get both, and we can hear both in a second. Or if you plug A and B in, you get 2 separate cabinet modelling routes. Now, 13 different speaker cabinets modelled. I've got in front of me a list of those models. They go from things like Cab 1 is a vintage American 2x12. I think we could probably assume something Fendery. The next one is a vintage British 2x12. We could probably assume something Voxy, but you could check this. Next up, surprise, surprise, British green slant 4x12. I think we know what that's all about. Greenbacks Marshall. So, and on we go through. There are 7 guitar cabinets all the way down to a small combo 1x8.
Which was the one you heard last, wasn't it?
Maybe thinking about something like Brian May's Deaky or something like that, a really tiny or little Ampeg or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe a tiny little Fender Champ or something like that. I don't know what size speaker they had in, but a small amp. And then on to, so that's 7, and then the rest of bass cabinets.
Bass cabs.
Who cares?
Hey! Bass players do care.
Sorry, couldn't resist it.
And it's really cool because it's such in a small box with all of their own impulse responses which are in here. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so anyone who uses impulse responses currently will know that you can get various plugins for various things on your door in your on your machine there, and you can apply an impulse response to an amp model or anything else, or if you just plug pedals in the front. And it's a really critically important part of the signal chain, because as we all know, a guitar speaker is a very weird thing that doesn't produce anything like natural sound. It's voiced with a very specific mid-range hump. It doesn't do very, very low bass frequencies, and it doesn't do very, very high frequencies. In fact, they shelve off quite significantly, like way below something like a PA speaker would. So if you are plugging direct, and I'll apologise because most of you know this already, but if you don't know this, if you're plugging in direct from something like a pedal board or from an amp, the amount of EQ you need to simulate a speaker is huge. Yeah,
absolutely.
Isn't it? Otherwise, well, as we're about to find out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm playing, am I?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, let's pull cabinet simulator off CabDryVR. As you can hear, that's straight into the door. So say we shut that door and open the door. It's not the nicest sound. And
there's something to be aware of here. There's a very interesting impedance relationship between what comes out of your guitar and what various input sources see. So at the risk of opening a giant can of worms, it helps if your signal can be buffered into whatever it is you're going into.
Yes, so that's why personally I like buffered pedals.
chances are if you're plugging in, you're going to be using some kind of preamp anyway, so your buffer is there.
Yeah.
It's there in whatever you're using. But in order to hear this guitar straight into the sound card, which is essentially what you're hearing.
Yeah, the Apollo 8P.
This pedal is buffered.
Yeah.
So that's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
If we add some distortion to that, Pierre.
Yeah. Yes, it's not very pleasant.
Yeah, everything I was saying about a guitar speaker rolling off a huge amount of high frequency.
Yeah.
That's why. Fuzz.
Ooh.
Not ideal.
not really.
So let's hear this here CabDryVR then.
CabDryVR.
Nothing is happening.
That's because I've turned it down.
Right. So we're just dealing with side A at the moment. And note to either Pete or Taylor, who's going to be editing this, can you mute side B at this point, please?
Yes.
So 2 controls on the top panel. Gotta stop saying so.
Yeah, you keep saying it. We talked about this in the other video.
We did.
And
but I watched a...
that's 2 weeks ago.
I watched a really nice film the other night, which was set in France, and they say alors, which kind of means, okay then, right then. So it's a conversational prompt, and it works in conversation. It's fine. So for all those people who are trying to ban so from the English language as a conversational prompt, it does exist elsewhere.
It is good.
But I apologise.
Neville, it's okay. Just let him do it. Right. So I'm sort of reaching for that a little bit, you know. So these things, again, when it comes in, it might need the front of house guy, whoever does the sound, might need to just tweak a few frequencies to get to you know what I mean, for it to come out, because it is coming out to a PA speaker.
Yeah, and we're monitoring through like a Mackie full range thing here, which is, you know, just the most unnatural thing to hear a guitar through. So we're guessing a little bit. Anyway, 2 knobs on the top. One is level.
Level is always good.
Which is, you know...
It's essential.
That's the most thorough demo of a control we'll ever do. And the other one is called size. Now this is interesting because what it essentially does is affects the resonant frequency of that cabinet, which is really key in how guitar cabinets sound. You heard us messing around with it and taking it to extremes at the beginning. Here's what it sounds like. So
massive difference,
huge difference, and that there's all kinds of things that you could compare that to. One is moving the mic around a speaker.
Yep.
Like all the way back there, it sounded really kind of muffled and way off the cone, and here it sounded in a particularly sort of nasal and difficult part of the cone, and that's because it's shifting the mid. You know, the resonant peak of what you're hearing, it's shifting that through the frequency spectrum.
Yeah.
It's really key. And when you're mixing, for example, if you were using this to reamp, that would be so useful just to be able to sit that guitar. And actually some of those sounds that sound really unnatural and kind of weird and honky in isolation can work superbly well in a
See,
track.
this is a different, there's another reason why these things are good, because they are, you know, guitars will probably get EQ'd a little bit to sit in the mix.
Yeah.
If you get the best guitar sound out you ever heard in your life, it's very difficult to get that to jump out at you in a mix situation. You know, if you listen to people like John Mayer and stuff, you can hear that the guitar, there's moving on, getting over. You can hear this. There's a lot of space So the mixes, there's a lot of space and everything, so you hear his guitars a lot, you know. Do you know what I mean? But if you've got like a proper rock track where everything's going, or whatever, I don't know, and there's a lot of stuff going on, then you have to mix the guitar differently.
They're really cut down, aren't they? Those,
absolutely.
A lot of those tracks. Anyway,
Absolutely.
okay, let's hear a few of these cabinet models then. So
Okay.
I'm going to turn the looking glass off for a second. Right,
Wow.
now,
Okay.
there's a lot of gain going on there. I'm going to leave it set as it is. Now I'm going to ask whoever's editing this, hello Pete, hello Taylor, it may be late at night, you may be slightly sad. Hello.
Not like this guy who's just a bit surprised.
Yeah. Pete's going to play, and as Pete plays, we're going to mix up output B and pan them left and right. Okay?
Ooh, okay, yes.
So at the moment, output B is set to dry, and then what I'm going to do is set it to a very different kind of emulation, and they'll be panned left and right, and I'll flick through them so you can hear what mixing two speaker cabinets would sound like.
Telecaster guitars?
Yep.
What was that? What I want to play was...
So if there were some fairly blank looks going on there, it's because we can't actually hear what's coming out of cab B at the moment because we're not monitoring it in this room.
Yeah.
But by the time you hear that, we will have gone through some extremes of settings. So what you should be able to hear is that you can actually get a huge range of options.
Absolutely.
If you want to mix cabinets. You know, truth be told, hearing it through full range speaker, it's a completely different experience than playing guitar normally through an amp.
Absolutely.
Everything is different in the way that it hits you, but
you have to approach it a different way when you play as well. It's like when you do, if you are doing some recordings where you plug straight into a desk and you get some, you know, like say a Logic plugin or something.
Yeah.
The way that you approach playing is a little bit different because it feels different. It'll make you play a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's a tool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
that's great.
I mean,
thing,
arguably, you might say it's not exactly an inspiration machine, which you might get from like some crazy ass fuzz with 58 knobs on it through a cranked, Marshall. No. It's not that. Yeah. It's a tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And an increasingly useful tool as more people are using huge pedal boards and needing some sort of direct option to either front house
and if you haven't got, you know, a lot of amps now, like the Hughes and Kettner's got the red box out, but there's a lot of amps now where you simply just have a DI in. You know, it started, you know, 3-4 years ago, and now all the amps kind of you see come out just got a DI out in the back.
Okay, well let's explore that in a small way. One way you can use this is to have it in your amp's effects loop. Okay, so we'll explore that just a little bit because one of the other ways. So what you've been hearing so far is the guitar into the pedals, into the cab driver, and direct out. That's what you've been hearing. So what we'll do now, we will unplug and plug a few things, and when we come back up, you'll be hearing this in the effects loop of an amp.
Yes, we're going to run it in the V40.
Okay, cool.
Yeah? You ready? Hey! That was the worst clap and snap ever.
Yeah.
Clap and snap. Shake and bake.
Scorsese's watching this
going, I need one of those cab drivers.
You guys! Right.
And this is his face. You're like...
So, to explain what's happened, guitar is going in here, through the looking glass, into the Carcosa fuzz, into the delay, into the front of the amp. So let's just forget that's there for a second.
Yep.
Exactly as you would normally have it. Out of the back of the amp, coming from the effects send of the amp into here.
Yeah, into the A.
The effects return is coming out of output B, which means that we can have it dry if we want. Output A is going direct to the desk.
To the door.
Yeah, and we are...
Apollo 8P.
Yes. So just to prove that that is actually what's happening, I'm going to turn... So this should be just the amp.
Reverb from the amp.
Yeah, and we could, if we wanted now, because it's going into input A and coming out of input B, we could put a speaker simulation on that if we wanted, and I'll just prove that now. And turn it down so you can't hear anything. There's still a small amount coming out of output A. So there you go. Hopefully that proved the point that you can run the cab driver in the effects loop of your amp, and when it's set to dry, these here controls on the top make no difference whatsoever.
Absolutely.
But if you choose a speaker simulation, quite why you would speaker simulate a guitar amp, I don't know, but anyway, you might, just to tweak it. Right,
yeah.
Enough. So I'm going to turn the guitar amp down and off. Let's just see if I can do that successfully. Great. And now I'm going to bring up the direct signal. So what you're hearing now is the amp's preamp hitting this. So that effects loop is not buffered. So when you turn it off, you get a massive drop in level.
So there you go. So you would have to have a buffer of some sort, or
if you
can have your delay. If you have a delay in the effects loop anyway, you'll just have it in front of that and then you would be fine.
But it wouldn't matter because you're never going to be using it off.
Absolutely.
Are you?
No.
So, okay.
Let's see what buffers do. They, buffers.
Oh, hang on. No, go on, play.
Mm-hmm. Or are you talking all nonsense? I prefer it much like this. Ooh.
So, no nonsense.
Even in there as well.
Right.
I prefer it much more like that. Oh, who scratched my guitar? Honestly.
Yeah, actually, it's a good example of the fact that if you're just using ordinary overdrive pedals, they're not really optimized to hit a speaker simulator. You need some kind of amplification stage in there to get the impedances up to give you the high end you need and all the rest of it. So, if you are thinking of direct, then maybe some sort of dedicated preamp style pedal would be the right way to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so let's have a listen then. So we've got the cab driver running in the loop of the V40
loop.
I'm gonna leave the amp up, set to dry, and I'm gonna leave the speaker simulation side up and just have a flick through the various cabinet models. And whoever's editing this, bless
Good luck.
Can
it might be me.
Can describe what's happening.
Okay.
Go for it.
Don't lean your head over this thing.
And we'll turn some pedals on.
Moving on, getting over. I think we've got a peak there and something like a spike.
Whoever's going to be editing that is going to be making some value judgments about how to mix it and
what got everything out.
All the rest of it. But hopefully what it proves is that there is a huge amount of not just EQ but resonance sort of control. What we were getting, we pumped up the full range monitor in the room, and the bottom end coming off it was massive.
Yeah.
It's making the floor shake.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you have a lot of options in addition to your regular guitar cabinet.
Absolutely. Good.
Which I think brings us sort of out of breath and gasping for air to the end.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing, you know. And
well, it's kind of hard to look at it out of context, because in context you're going to be probably sat at a desk by, you know, situation one, sat at a desk by a DAW recording music, hearing it through full range headphones, soaked in effects in the context of a mix.
Yeah. And then it'll be great.
And
you
option
get all these
two
options.
Is exactly like this, and the front of house guy is going to be dealing with it.
Yeah. There you go. You do that.
Yeah, and he's going to be going, oh, need a bit less 2K there and a bit of a push on 800 and...
Absolutely. And he would be doing that anyway,
yeah,
to get the guitar to sit in the mix.
Exactly.
He'll be doing that whether it would be microphones or it's a DI out or it's whatever it is that comes, they will be just tweaking a little bit. So you get the nice mix, get the guitar there, then you can hear it. So, you know, you might have good sound on the stage, but you never know what's going out up front. You know what I mean? You never know. Yeah. You might not even be on. So there you go.
And with that...
And on that note, CabDryVR, Guitar Paradiso on Andertons TV.
I was Mick.
Yes, he was Mick. And I'm still Pete. And I will be next time. Pete! No! Pete! No!